So that is why Bernie Sanders has been saying, for as long as we've known him on the political scene, we got to break up these big banks. Elizabeth Warren has also come around to that position. Well, Kirsten Gillibrand, who's now dialing for dollars from Wall Street while trying to present herself as I'm a progressive. Don't get me wrong. I think she's good on women's issue. She has been one of the leading senators against assault of female veterans who have been assaulted by male colleagues in the military. She's good on women's issues, which isn't nothing. But on economic issues, she's talking out of one side of her mouth and doing another thing. How can you, in 2019, if you want to run for president, how can you be caught, much less doing, calling Wall Street executives? Do you not think that's going to get out? What is your answer? Well, her answer is, well, I represent New York, and I represent many people who work on Wall Street. Yeah, but you know what? Wall Street is not New York. Wall Street, the financial institution, is not the biggest industry in New York. And by the way, do you think it's any coincidence? We have gaping income inequality in this country. Do you think by state, do you know the number one state, the state that has the highest income inequality? Take a guess. I'm sitting in that state. New York. You think it's any coincidence that New York has the highest income inequality? Maybe because people like Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is all for subsidies to Wall Street when they don't need it. Maybe because folks like Kirsten Gillibrand voted against Senator Brown's bill to break up the big banks. This was Senator Sherrod Brown's vote to break up the big banks. Who did I highlight there? She was an A. She voted against breaking up the big banks, making tighter capital requirements, putting more regulation on them so that they couldn't play casino roulette with your money. This was the biggest need. This was the biggest need for breaking up, for financial reform. If you're too big to fail, if you're going to crash the global economy, then you're too big to exist. So Kirsten Gillibrand, and by the way, I'm not just going after Kirsten Gillibrand. We're going to have quite a lot of coverage on Kamala Harris. We're going to have plenty of coverage of Joe Biden. We're going to have plenty of coverage on Cory Booker. And we'll look into Elizabeth Warren's record too. But I don't want to hear from Kirsten Gillibrand about, oh, we're going to take it to Wall Street. Oh, we got to help middle-class families. Oh, we got to help minorities. Hey, guess who was disproportionately screwed by the financial crash? Minorities. African Americans got hit the hardest with foreclosures and the financial scams of the people that Kirsten Gillibrand voted to protect. That's what she voted no on. Senator Brown's amendment that Bernie Sanders co-sponsored. Right here. I'll say it again. Too big to fail legislation. So if Kirsten Gillibrand was this champion of the middle class, if Kirsten Gillibrand, says, I did X, Y, and Z against Wall Street, well, the biggest thing you could do to prevent another financial crash is breaking up the big banks. Bernie Sanders isn't talking about breaking up the big banks and fire half the people. He's talking about put them back to what they were. Goldman Sachs, before Glass-Steagall was repealed, wasn't the size it was. And when you break up the big banks, you actually have a penalty for playing casino roulette or blackjack or whatever your vice is with other people's money. The banks will keep doing it if they don't see any consequences. And as Matt Taibbi and I just talked about, they don't have any consequences. None. So am I being, as the pundits or the establishment-friendly journalists say, am I or David Sirota being toxic by, practicing this thing called journalism? Because it only took me 15 minutes to find that. It only took me 15 minutes, and I'm doing the job of 7 people. Am I being toxic, folks, by pointing out that Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who's dialing for dollars from Wall Street right now, voted against breaking up the big banks? Am I being toxic by showing that when you combine the money she's taken from financial attorneys and Wall Street, she has taken, let's see, 7.5 plus 4.8. I'm not good at math, but that would be 8.5, 9.5, 10.5, 11.5, 12, almost $12.5 million in her career. Almost $12.5 million from financial lawyers and Wall Street. Should we just forget that because now she's not taking corporate PAC money? See, the problem isn't, we do believe, I do believe that, okay, politicians sometimes are capable of seeing the light. Bernie Sanders has seen the light on some things that he previously didn't strongly feel for. But they're seeing the light, and then they're seeing the light for political reasons. I don't want to vote for anyone that's seeing the light for political reasons, because then you can't trust that they're actually going to follow through once they become president or once they become a senator. I don't care what you say you're going to do on the campaign trail. Actions speak louder than your words. That's why I am a huge proponent of Bernie Sanders. That's why, as I've reported, although I think Elizabeth Warren is fairly progressive on economics, I don't trust Elizabeth Warren because she did not show up for two of the biggest progressive battles of the 21st century. She did not show up for Bernie Sanders, which I spoke about last week when she announced, and she did not show up for No Dapple. And to me, I mean, listen, if it's not Bernie and the only option is Elizabeth Warren versus Donald Trump, I will bite the bullet and vote for Elizabeth Warren because I think she's 100 times better than Hillary Clinton. You guys might not like that, but that's how I feel. I don't think Elizabeth Warren is like a lesser of two evils situation. She is progressively economic, and that's why I would vote for her over Donald Trump. But if it's Bernie Sanders versus Elizabeth Warren, there's no contest because Elizabeth Warren played politics when we needed her to have the courage of her convictions. I'm not saying her endorsing Bernie Sanders would mean he would have won the Democratic nomination, but I do think it would have helped. I do think he would have won Massachusetts. I do think it could have helped around the edges in Iowa and other states. So that's what I believe. That's what I believe. Kirsten Gillibrand, here's a story from Open Secrets. Senators who oppose financial reform got more cash on average from Wall Street interest. So I just showed you that she voted against Too Big to Fail. Well, some of the top beneficiaries of the first quarter of 2010 have been both New York Democratic Senators Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand. How much did they take? In the first 3 months of 2010, she took $341,706. Gee, I wonder why she voted against Too Big to Fail. I wonder why. I just can't imagine the reason. Can you imagine the reason, Sam? If you took $341,766 from Jordan Chariton in 3 months, would you be more likely to do what I asked you to do? I am pretty sure if I gave you $341,000 in 3 months, you'd probably just be like, yes, Jordan, what can I do? I mean, obviously, this sounds bad. Obviously, work-related tasks or life-related tasks, nothing else. But you get the point. Oh, boy. I'm getting myself in trouble here. Pay to play. Yes, Hank. But now, the corporate media, Kirsten Gillibrand, she's progressive. Cory Booker, he's progressive.